So, what do you want people to understand about not just your case, but about the men and women who are still imprisoned?
Yeah, so Dan Wilson is still behind bars for January 6th. President Trump said the pardon applies when Ed Martin was the acting U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia. He said under the presidential power, the authority of that office, the plenary powers granted to the executive, that the pardon applies to Dan Edward Wilson. I've been working with Mr. Wilson since 2021. We're more than just cohorts in the January 6th event, but he's become a friend, and this is breaking my heart that he's going through this. We also have Ben Martin out in California that his case hangs in limbo. He's also represented by the interests of Condemned USA. So these two cases are ones that are just breaking my heart. Now, Ben is out of jail and he's just having to answer to probation because they can't seem to get this figured out. And they're basing their answer on the insanity of a judge out there. Same judge that ruled on the ICE event that said that ICE has to have a warrant to make an arrest, which is absurd, right? That the idea that law enforcement has to have a warrant to make an arrest. And what world does that happen? If you go outside and you throw a rock through a window, police can arrest you right then and there. They're law enforcement. There's no warrant needed. And that's what ICE does. They arrest people. They don't have to have a warrant. So the idea that this is happening really spawns from the insanity of the district court of the District of Columbia. And that would be one Dabney Friedrich. Ironically, she was my judge. And Dabney Friedrich has come up with all this incredible ideology as to why the pardon doesn't apply to Dan Wilson, although the president has said that it has. I am currently have a great respect for and I'm thankful for Ed Martin and the weaponization office there and him in both his role there and his role as the U.S. pardon attorney. So President Trump has put the right man in the right job for the right time. And we do need some additional action on that. And I'm sad to say that I know that President Trump's position, and I respected Ed Martin's position through President Trump or as a proxy of, is that this pardon has already been granted. Now it's a fight in the courts to get it done. There is a simpler, faster method, and I would urge them to consider that. My plea is to President Trump to please consider simply assign the pardon number for the case number that is holding this up, because Dan Wilson has sat 2 months in prison. He has been ordered back to prison since being released from prison. He has had to go back. No one should bear that atrocity. So we have January 6 defendants like that, and then we have the others that we carry through the pardon through Peter Tickton, through the American Rights Alliance, our organization that's doing this. And I know you have me up as Condemned USA. Condemned USA still carries the torch for the January 6 defendants like Dan Wilson, Benjamin Martin. We have to get these people free. This is of this insanity that's going on.